Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, we are going to have bottles that are, I am not going to say they are trash, but they were a bust for me. Now, remember, this is an opinion piece, so I am just giving you my opinion on these bottles. I believe the majority of these bottles will find to be a favorite among some of my viewers. So I might get some pushback for some of these bottles. However, with that being said, I'm going to get into the first couple of bottles because I don't think that they were necessarily bad. I just think that the whiskey inside did not match up with the price. And this is dry January, so you won't see any drinks on the table. I am just letting my body take a break. I shot a lot of videos at the end of the year to prepare myself for January, so I've got quite a bit of videos in the catalog, so look out for more coming in 2024. Look out for more coming this month. And without further ado, let's get into the first bottle. This is Blatant Bow. You see where it's at in the bottle. I did not think that this was a bad whiskey. It is 91 proof. It actually had a decent mouthfeel. It had some good flavors. It was a bit nutty, but I really liked it. I enjoyed it, but the fact that it has a $55 price tag, oh man, it's one of those bottles that I'm just like, the juice inside just does not match the price tag. Honestly, you could probably get yourself a bottle of 1910 for 55 bucks because this only comes in at 91 proof. 1910 comes in 93 proof. $5 more bucks or $10 more bucks depending on where you're at, you can get a bottle of 1920 if you like the higher proof stuff with a lot more flavor. But this right here, $55 to me, in my opinion, was just asking a bit much. I think Green River would knock that thing out of the water. So, and that's a $35 bottle. Let's get into the next bottle. Let's see. Cream of Kentucky. I did not necessarily think that it was a bad bottle. I just think that it fell flat for that $70 to $75 price range. I was excited to get my hands on it. Jim Rutledge was behind it. Cream of Kentucky, a new type of rye, a Ryman rye, 100% Ryman rye. I said it in the review that I thought for $10 cheaper, you could get New Riff's 100% malted rye, and it was way better. I mean, way better. I'm sorry, I thought it had some decent notes in it, very fruit forward, but as far as the $70 price tag on that thing, it just did not match up. Let's get into the next bottle. This one, and I gotta give a shout out to Tom, man. Tom Linderman. Tom, this is a stand-in because he gave me a 1 ounce for Heaven Hill 20 year. So the Heritage Series, the Heaven Hill 20 year, it didn't do it for me. It was, a lot of people called it 20 year mellow corn. It was very sweet, almost syrupy sweet, honey sweet, very oaky. And I guess you should expect that for a 20-year product. Very drying in the mouth, but it did not do it for me as far as having a $250, I believe that was the price MSRP. But I saw it online for $1,000, $1,500. It was just ridiculous. So for this thing to be, well, not this one, this is their ECBP waffle sauce pick, which was actually delicious, by the way. I just did not think it was worth it. I really didn't think it was worth it. All right, let's get into the next one. For $50, and shout out to David from the Whiskey Bank because he provided me with a sample of it was the 2XO wood finishing series, and I have this stand-in. This is the 2XO Innkeeper's blend. Shout out to Brad for providing me with a sample of the 2XO Innkeeper's blend and the tribute blend, by the way. But this was a stand-in so that I wouldn't forget to put it on the channel. But the wood finishing series that I got from David, I thought it was a little bland, a little middle of the road, and you might hear that term a lot tonight, but I thought it was just bland and middle of the road for a $50 bottle. Once again, $5 more bucks, 1910. That is a double oaked bottle right there. And it is, it took a while to grow on me, but once it grew on me, I liked it a lot. So $50 for the wood finishing 2XO, I just think that's a bit much. The juice inside just did not match the price tag. Now let's get into a distillery. So Starlight Distillery, the Carl T. Huber. I was excited. I got this bottle. It was 35 bucks. This one right here. I wound up, shout out to S&W. I got this bottle on sale there for 40 bucks. When I first did the review of the Carl T. Huber, I thought it was decent. I thought it was something more for a new bourbon drinker. It was not necessarily my cup of tea. I did not think it was horrible though. So someone reached out in the comments and said, well, you need to try the Carl T. Huber finish series and see what you think about those. He said they're much better. So I was able to get the sherry finish one. Still was not a big fan of them. But shout out to Matt from Whiskey Wisdom, because look for this review coming in 2024. He provided me with a sample of the Starlight Blueberry finish. And I've got to say, I've got to give a little bit more respect to Starlight after trying that thing. So you will see the review. I do have it recorded. It just has not been edited yet, with about 6, maybe 10 other videos that I have in the kitty right now. All right, so this might be the first bottle up that I don't want to say it's trash, but man, it is just, it's not for me. And I've been trying to get through it since I bought it months ago. And just this Boulder Spirits, it checked all of the boxes. It was 100 proof, bottled in bond. And it just, man, yeah, it was youthful, grainy, and when things are youthful, grainy, and I get a grapey, raisiny note, of course, it's high malt, so you should expect that raisin note or that plum slash date note, but it just, man, it just didn't do it for me. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not a big fan of it. Same thing with this one now. This is absolute garbage, and if I would have looked at the back of the bottle before buying it, I would have said, wow, this thing has only been aged 19 months, and I would not have taken a chance. Now, Blue Note puts out some great stuff for a young bourbon, but this right here, 19 months, they needed at least another 19 months in the barrel, because this just did not do it. Super youthful, grainy notes, a lot of grape, and I love grape. Russell's 13 Batch 3 had the best grape note with the almost like a grape soda grape. And if you go back to that review, you will see how many times I say grape. You'd be a rich man if you had $1 for every time I said grapey note. But in these products here, no, not feeling it. Eagle Rare, love the grape note. A lot of the Buffalo Trace stuff, some of the Stag, love the grape note. Not in this. Back to a grape note. Let's go into one that I had high hopes for. This was District Made. This is a Total Wine pick, 6 years old, 141 proof, 140.9 proof. Sorry about that. And it was hazmat. I lost it when I saw it. I was like, I gotta have it. This one right here, got it home. Super grapey, grainy, sharp notes. It just did not do it for me. Me being born and raised in DC for the first about 14 years of my life, I had high hopes for this thing, and it just did not deliver. And so that is that with that one. I'm probably going to catch a lot of hate for this one and the one behind it. 1792 Sweet Wheat. I'm a big fan of 1792, as you can see by looking behind me. The 4 proof, amazing. The single barrel, I like. The bottled and bond is pretty good, man. I got that one, a new one. That's actually an ABC, a Virginia ABC pick. This thing right here, yes, it is a little more than half full, but that's not from me drinking it. That is from me sampling it out. And I'm sorry to spoil this for you, but shout out to B.Og, man, because you got a sample of this thing coming your way. And you can tell me what you think about it. We are Bourbon Brothers, Bourbon Twins. So if he likes this thing, maybe I just need to go do something else, because I'm telling you, this thing right here is not where it's at. Another bottle that I think is trash, and I'm not blanking on the state of Pennsylvania, but this David E. out of Pennsylvania, oh man, this was like grape jam and alcohol. It was not good. And I tried and I tried and I tried, and it is just This is borderline drain pour. You can't, it's got so much of a grape jam note in it, you can't even make it a mixer. You can't use it as a mixer because it would take over. So I don't know what else to do with it. I might wind up pouring that thing down the drain, maybe even tonight. I don't know. I don't know. This is actually the bottle that I think I'm going to get the most hate for. It's not worth it. It's just, I paid $100 for this bottle. I put it on the channel. I said it has some citrus notes, I think some lemon notes. I have sampled this out too. It has not really, I have not really, and even when I do go back into it just to see, I will pour myself like the smallest little bit, and I'm just like, no, it's not worth it. It's not for me. It's just not great whiskey. Why it's chased, I don't know. You probably would do better getting yourself a bottle of Wathans, even though I've never had it. I've heard people say, hey, it's this pretty much the same juice, same bottle. So let's get into the next one. This is a newer bottle. This is the newest bottle on the channel that I thought was not great. I'm a big fan of Heaven Hill. I like the Bernheim A223. Shout out to B-Og again, man. You got a sample of that thing coming too. But the B923 that I wound up getting in November just did not do it for me, man. It was a little rough. It had a little bit of a sweetness, vanilla, a caramel in it, but then it had almost that black licorice note somewhere in there on the mid that just did not sit well with me. It had really deep, rich pepper notes. I couldn't get with it. I really couldn't get with it. And this, like I said, I'm a Heaven Hill fan. I had high hopes for that bottle. I wanted that bottle to be good so bad. Let's get into the next one. Now, shout out to the people at 925. Chris, shout out to you, man. Normally, I am a fan of 925 picks. This right here, this Mackenzie, just didn't do it for me. It comes in at 109.6 proof. This is white corn, 70% white corn, 20% rye, 10% malted barley. Yeah, I filmed a review and I never released it. I never released it, and I probably never will now. But it 7 years old. Like, this one ticked all of the boxes too. A 7-year-old product that's 109.6, almost 110 proof, single barrel, and then from people I trust, I was like, oh man, this thing is gonna be good. This had a weird grapey, grainy kind of note too, man, and it just didn't do it for me. Like I said, I like when I get that grape note on Buffalo Trace products like Eagle Rare and some of the Stag, and you can even get it in some of the single barrel blends, but when it's just overpowering and that's the only thing that you get, and you've got these useful grainy notes behind it, it just totally turns me off. This bottle right here has very like raisin, it's malt forward. I didn't give it a bad review. I said that it was very light on the palate, very thin. I would give this to a new bourbon drinker if they wanted to get into single malts. I like my single malts. My favorite single malt, you guys know if you've been watching the channel, Old Line puts out some amazing single malts. Cognac's finish is great. Sherry finish is great. The just the regular cask strength, oh my gosh. Anyway, this is just very light. It's very light. It's fruit forward, very thin on the palate. I won't say that it is bad. It is just not for me. Let's get to the last bottle. Last up, but not least, this is the High West Rendezvous Rye. Now, I think I put $59.99, but when I went back into the ABC store, it was $69.99. So I think it was $70 that I paid for this bottle. And I know that this is the base for Midwinter Night's Dram, and that is finished in either a sherry or some type of port or something like that. I can't remember. I've never had a bottle. I did have the chance to get it. I passed on the chance to get it because of this. This was so bland. It had no flavor. I was just like, wow, I can't believe they charged that much for a 46, this is 46 ABV, making it 92 proof. So for a 92 proof product to be $70 and have no flavor, is it a beautiful bottle? Yes, I love that hand blown glass look with the bubbles in it. This is a very, very, very beautiful bottle, but it has nothing to offer on the inside. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you head it to a drop. Till next time.